If every member of the Drew County Burial Association died tomorrow, all the benefits could be paid and more than $1 million would still be in the bank. That was part of testimony offered at a meeting today. 7 on your sides, Jason Pederson was there and is here now to tell us why it's being held. Jason.
Scott, 80 years ago in Arkansas, African Americans couldn't buy burial insurance, so associations were formed. Everybody paid in a little, and over time, and with the power of compounding interest, some of those coffers grew and grew and grew. Martha Goodman and her mother, Clandestine Miller, have been paying into the Drew County Burial Association for decades. Last month, members voted unanimously to dissolve the $1.3 million in the fund and sent prorated refund checks to all 243 members. Some received a few thousand, others received over 30,000. But the Arkansas Burial Association Board has previously refused to okay the dissolution plan. And when it caught wind of the association's action, an emergency order was issued to freeze bank accounts and cancel all those checks. There are 135 other burial associations in the state, and the board seems concerned that such permission would set a precedent it is not yet prepared to set.
Not wanting to set a precedent, that's what the agency is for, is to promulgate the rules so that they can, exercise or supervise control over the burial associations.
So they're just trying to keep us from getting our money. That's the way we're looking at it. And it's money that we paid in, our grandparents paid in, our parents paid in over the years. And if they're going to dissolve it, we feel like it's our money.
Now, compounding this problem and the interest, each policy only pays out a maximum of $500. After a 7-hour meeting, the board voted 4-2 along racial lines that the liquidation effort violated Arkansas code. So for now, the funds remain frozen.
Jason, thanks very much.
Well, members of a super-funded burial association in southeast Arkansas are becoming super frustrated over an inability to access the cash that they and their ancestors have saved for decades.
7 on your sides, Jason Pederson listened in today as their dilemma was discussed.
It was a meeting of the Arkansas Burial Association. The Burial Association members drove back to Drew County no closer to the more than $1 million that everyone agrees is rightfully theirs. For much of the 20th century, the difficulties for a black citizen in Arkansas continued to exist even after they ceased to exist.
This burial association was established way back when blacks couldn't get buried by white cemeteries.
Burial associations were formed so the poor and disenfranchised could take care of themselves. Members joined and paid monthly dues so that money was available to help pay for the funeral and burial when a member died. After decades of deposits, and with the power of compounding interest and a maximum payout for most members of only $500, the Drew County Burial Association now has more than $1 million sitting inside Commercial Bank in Monticello.
We've already had meetings, we've already voted, we've already decided how we want this money distributed. Everybody agreed to it. We had several meetings. This has been going on for 3 years. And it's time to make a decision.
It's very important that we all understand we don't have members complaining about the decision to dissolve. Members aren't complaining.
Now, all the board agreed to do was ask for an attorney general's opinion and form a committee to study the matter, 2 things that have already been done by the board in the past. Back to you.
A dilemma for sure. Jason, thank you.
Well, one of the byproducts of the Depression was burial associations. Struggling citizens banded together and pulled small amounts of money so that when someone died, he or she could get a proper burial.
Decades of dues paying and good management can create a very large reserve. And in one Arkansas county, a large controversy. 7 on your sides, Jason Pederson here with a look tonight. Jason.
Hey guys, in 2012, the National Funeral Directors Association put the average cost of a funeral at about $7,000. The members of the Drew County Burial Association could all afford that if they could only get access to their money. The main entrance of Oakland Cemetery will not get you to the black section. That's the back section off an unmarked dirt road. And that's where many Hendersons are buried, including J.B. Henderson, one of the founders of the Drew County Burial Association.
This burial association was started by African Americans. It was run by African Americans. They had the foresight to invest these monies. They were intelligent people, invested the money, and the money grew into something that could benefit everybody. And now is the time to reap that benefit.
Some of these members have been paying in for 80 years. Still, for most, the maximum value of their policy is $500. 30 or 40 years ago, you could bury somebody for $500, but that's not the case anymore. Yet the members of the Drew County Burial Association can still only get $500 when they die, despite $1 million or more in the bank.
That's when we decided to dissolve this thing so we could all have enough money to bury ourselves without our family going into debt trying to bury us.
Officially incorporated in 1954, the group's charter states that the period for which this association shall exist, unless at an earlier date voluntarily dissolved by proper action of its officers and board of directors, shall be perpetual. Well, the membership voted to dissolve. Checks were mailed out in December. 18 checks totaling $150,000 were cashed before Monticello resident Chuck Dearman alerted his fellow burial board members that there was $1 million floating around.
I got the check, but I can't cash it.
An emergency board meeting was called and all DCBA accounts were frozen and its officers were suspended, citing concern for the public welfare.
Now when you come up here talking about you're going to freeze it and nobody gets nothing, fire the secretary and the president and take control of everything. I mean, that's wrong. You know it's wrong.
Dearman is with Stevenson Dearman Funeral Home. He would like to see his burial association and DCBA merge. But while the Drew County Burial Association is one of the best funded in the state, the Stevenson Burial Association is one of the most underfunded. Stevenson has 2,500 members, but less than $5,000 in its account. That's $1.65 per member. DCBA has 250 members and about $1.2 million. That's about $4,800 per member. Of the 133 burial associations in Arkansas, 65% have less than $100 per member on hand. Here are the 5 most underfunded burial associations. The Fowler Burial Association in Brinkley has over 900 members and no money. The next 5 most underfunded include Stevenson at number 8. There's no public outcry because burial policies are being honored. Usually benefits aren't paid in cash, they're paid in discounts. There are about 24 burial associations like Drew County that, because of good management, conservative policies, wise investing, and the power of compounding interest, have enough money right now to pay the face value of all member policies and then some.
We need to be able to get the money that we need to bury ourselves with.
Now, the board said it lacked the statutory authority to approve the Drew County Burial Association's plan to dissolve. Well, the board also lacks the statutory authority to approve mergers, but it has approved several mergers in the past. There is much more ground to cover with this story, including a newly passed state law that might solve everything. If you'd like to learn more about this issue, just link to this story later tonight at KATV.com.
We will look for it there. Jason, thanks for your work.
There are 136 burial associations here in Arkansas. Most have less than $100 per member in the bank, but a few are super funded. One of those associations that is flush with cash has been battling for the right to dissolve and distribute money to its members. Tonight, as 7 on Your Side's Jason Pederson reports, it appears the battle has been won.
In December, the Drew County Burial Association tried to dissolve. Checks totaling over $1 million were cut to about 250 members. Only 18 checks were cashed before the Arkansas Burial Association stepped in and froze the DCBA's bank accounts and suspended its top officers. Last week, an Arkansas Attorney General's opinion concluded that the board lacked the authority to take such drastic action.
No Arkansas law gives the board any clear role in the dissolution process.
Members of the Drew County Burial Association gather in Monticello to listen to a teleconference as attorneys and board members debate what to do now. In the end, the board votes to reverse course and restore the members' access to their money. In December, Scott Berna of Fayetteville was one of 4 members who voted to freeze the funds. This time, Berna was one of 4 who voted to free them up again.
Prayer to our Heavenly Father means a whole lot. And we have been praying, we've been hoping for justice to be done, and I think today it has been done.
I'll be relieved when the checks start clearing the bank. Simply because I don't know, but I'm hopeful and I'm praying that this is over.
Several DCBA members have died since December. In fact, one member was buried Wednesday afternoon. The families of those members will still receive prorated checks, their calculated fair shares. Back to you.
An apparent resolution. Jason, thank you.